Welcome to AI World TV, your go-to destination for everything artificial intelligence. Discover the captivating landscape of AI, where advanced technology finds real-life application. Subscribe to AI World TV for webzine articles, reports, podcasts, videos, live events, and latest trends. Hear from top industry leaders and discover how AI is transforming industries and our daily lives.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to get into a really interesting shift happening in AI.
That's right. We're looking at an article from AI World Journal by Sydney Armani. It's called Decentralized AI, Reshaping the Future of Artificial Intelligence.
And it really does tackle a big idea. This move away from AI being, mostly run by just a few huge companies.
Exactly, the whole centralized model.
So our plan for this deep dive is to unpack what the article lays out. We want to understand, okay, what is decentralized AI? Why does the author think it's needed now?
And what tech makes it work? What are the upsides? Where is it actually being used?
Right. And importantly, what are the roadblocks? Because it's never that simple.
Never. But the core idea, as presented here, is aiming for an AI future that's maybe more open, definitely more secure for user data, and, well, more democratic, less power concentrated in one place.
Could really change who gets to play in the AI sandbox and who benefits. So let's see what the article says. So to start, how does the article describe the current AI scene? What's the setup that makes decentralized feel necessary?
Well, it depicts the current situation as being dominated by, centralized AI.
Meaning
the data, vast amounts of it, and the massive computing power needed. It's all pooled together in these huge data centers, often owned by just a handful of big tech organizations.
Okay, so everything's in one place, basically. And the article argues this causes problems.
Oh, definitely. It highlights some major challenges with that model. One is the issue of data monopolies, just a few companies holding way too much data.
Right.
Another is algorithmic bias, which can get baked in and even amplified when you're training on these massive, possibly skewed data sets inside systems that aren't always, transparent.
And that lack of transparency, that's another point.
Yep. Opaque governance.
Yeah.
How are decisions made about these powerful systems? Who controls them? The article suggests it's often unclear.
So if that's the problem set, decentralized AI is the proposed solution. How does the article actually define it?
Think of it like spreading the intelligence around. Instead of AI models living and learning in one central hub, they're trained, managed, and deployed across a distributed network. So the learning, the processing, it happens out at the edges.
The edges meaning?
Individual devices, local servers, different nodes scattered, globally perhaps. It's a fundamental shift away from bringing everything to the center.
Okay, distribute the work. That makes sense conceptually. But how does the article say this actually works technically? What are the key pieces of technology making it happen?
It points to a few core technologies, really foundational stuff. The first one it discusses is federated learning.
Federated learning, right? I've heard of that. That's the one that sounds really important for privacy. Yeah.
Exactly. That's its major selling point.
Yeah.
Federated learning lets AI models train on data across lots of different devices or servers.
Okay.
But, and this is the crucial part, the raw data never leaves its original location. Only the updates to the model, the parameters learned, get shared and combined.
So the learning goes to the data? The data doesn't have to travel to the learning.
Precisely. Huge for user privacy and what they call data sovereignty, keeping control of your data.
Makes sense. Okay, what other tech does the article mention?
Blockchain and smart contracts are highlighted too.
Right, blockchain. How does that fit in with AI?
Well, the article explains that these distributed ledgers offer a way to create unchangeable, verifiable records. So for AI, you could track how data was used, who contributed to training a model, even who owns the resulting model.
Like an audit trail.
Exactly, an immutable audit trail, which helps build trust and makes the whole process more transparent and checkable. You have a secure, shared history.
Trust and transparency definitely needed in AI. Okay, and there was a third technology.
Yes, edge computing. This is all about pushing the AI computation itself closer to where the data is actually generated.
So instead of sending data from, say, a sensor all the way back to the cloud.
Right. You process it right there or nearby. On the IoT sensor itself maybe, or a phone or a local gateway server.
And the benefit there is speed.
Speed is a big one, yeah.
Yeah.
Faster decisions, which is critical for things that need real-time responses. Plus, it reduces the load on and the dependence on those big central data centers.
Okay, so we have the concept, distribute the AI, and the tech. Federated learning for privacy, blockchain for trust, edge computing for speed and efficiency. Why does the article say this whole shift matters? What are the big advantages?
Well, the benefits presented really hit on the downsides of the centralized model we talked about. A huge one is enhanced privacy and data security.
Because the data stays put.
Exactly. Since sensitive user data doesn't need to be funneled into one giant central pot, it stays protected where it originates. This massively cuts down the risk of those enormous data breaches we keep hearing about.
Yeah, keeping data local feels like a fundamental win for security. What else?
The article makes a strong case for the democratization of AI development. Well, building cutting-edge AI centrally often requires just immense resources, right? Access to colossal data sets, super expensive computing power. Decentralized methods can potentially lower these barriers.
Because you're using distributed data and maybe distributed computing?
Right. It could open things up so smaller companies, university labs, even individual developers can actually contribute and innovate. Fosters a more inclusive, diverse AI ecosystem, not just the giants.
Spreading the innovation potential around. I like that. Any other key benefits?
Greater resilience and reliability is another point the article makes.
Because it's distributed.
Yeah. Think about it. In a distributed network, if one node goes offline, the whole system can usually keep running. Other parts compensate.
Unlike a centralized system where if the main hub fails,
Everything can grind to a halt. It avoids that single point of failure. It's inherently more robust, like having backups spread out everywhere.
makes sense. And you mentioned transparency before with blockchain.
Yes, that's the final key benefit highlighted: transparency and auditability. Having those verifiable records of model training, data usage, it builds trust.
You are listening to the AI World Podcast, your trusted source for the latest innovations, insights, and trends in artificial intelligence, blockchain, fintech, and decentralized technologies. Each episode features expert interviews, engaging discussions, and in-depth analysis of how AI transforms industries worldwide. Stay ahead of the curve with the latest articles and exclusive reports from the AI World Journal, covering everything from emerging technologies to industry breakthroughs. For more news, global events, and access to AI World Society circle gatherings, visit us at aiworld.tv. Don't forget to subscribe to stay informed, stay connected, and be part of the AI revolution with AI World Lounge. Thank you for listening.
Users can feel more confident, and regulators have a clearer picture for accountability.
Okay, those are some compelling arguments. Enhanced privacy, democratization, resilience, transparency. It paints a pretty attractive picture. Does the article give concrete examples of where this is actually happening or could happen?
It does. It offers several really interesting use cases. One is in healthcare.
Okay, how'd that work?
Imagine hospitals using federated learning. They could train diagnostic AI models on their own patient data locally.
Right.
But then they could pool the learnings from those models across multiple hospitals to make the overall model much better, more accurate. And crucially, they can do this without ever sharing the actual sensitive patient records, keeping everything HIPAA compliant, for instance.
Wow, yeah. That seems like a perfect fit. Keeping health data private while still improving the AI. What about finance?
Similar idea in finance. Banks or financial institutions could collaborate to build better AI models for detecting fraud.
Fraud detection often needs to see patterns across different places, right?
Exactly. But banks are obviously very protective of their customer data. Decentralized methods could let them train a shared model on their internal data without actually exposing confidential customer details to each other.
Again, collaboration without compromising that core sensitive data. Smart. Any other areas?
Smart cities get a mention. Think about AI managing things like traffic flow, energy grids, maybe public safety systems, using networks of IoT sensors. By running the AI processing right there at the edge near the sensors, the system can make decisions in real time, like a traffic light adjusting instantly to local conditions without waiting for data to go to a central control room and back. Less delay, faster response.
Makes sense for time-sensitive things. Did the article mention any specific platforms enabling this?
Yeah, it gives examples like Ocean Protocol and SingularityNet. It describes these as open marketplaces built using decentralized tech.
Marketplaces for
securely and transparently trading data, AI models, and AI services. The idea is to create these ecosystems where people or companies can contribute data or algorithms and get fairly compensated, all managed through decentralized rules and protocols.
Interesting. So it all sounds really promising, tackle some major issues with AI today. But, there are always challenges with big shifts like this. What hurdles does the article say decentralized AI faces?
No, absolutely. It's clear it's not a magic bullet.
Yeah.
One big challenge mentioned is coordination and data consistency.
Meaning it's hard to manage.
Yeah. I mean, imagine trying to train one coherent AI model across possibly thousands, maybe millions, of different devices. You've got different data formats, devices connecting and disconnecting, varying data quality, making sure the model learns effectively and stays synchronized across all that diversity. It's technically very complex. Needs some pretty advanced coordination methods.
Much easier when all the data is neat and tidy in one place, I suppose.
Yeah.
What about the rules and regulations side?
That's another major hurdle. Regulatory uncertainty. The laws around data privacy, who's responsible if an AI makes a mistake, how data can move across borders. They're all still catching up to current AI, let alone decentralized AI.
Right.
So these new architectures, especially using blockchain or spanning multiple countries, might run into legal gray areas or even conflicts with existing rules, creates uncertainty.
Yeah, the tech often moves faster than the law. Is there one more challenge?
The article also points to limited edge capabilities.
Meaning the devices themselves aren't powerful enough.
Sometimes, yeah. While edge computing is key, a lot of the actual devices out there at the edge, like small sensors or maybe older smartphones, just don't have the raw processing power for really intensive AI tasks, like training complex models.
So what's the solution there?
It suggests that maybe the way forward, at least for now, involves hybrid approaches. Maybe some tasks stay centralized, some go to the edge. Or we need breakthroughs in making AI models much more efficient for these low-power devices.
Okay, so considering that whole picture, the potential, the tech, the benefits, but also these very real challenges, how does the article sort of wrap things up? What's the outlook?
Well, it concludes by saying decentralized AI isn't necessarily going to replace all centralized AI overnight or maybe ever, but it frames it as a necessary, almost inevitable evolution.
An evolution driven by?
Driven directly by those big concerns people have about the current model. Privacy risks, embedded bias, the concentration of power in just a few hands, and the lack of transparency. Decentralized AI is presented as a response to those specific problems.
It's trying to fix the foundational issues we started discussing.
Exactly. And looking forward, the author expects to see big developments in this space over the next, say, decade. Things like more collaborative AI ecosystems built on these principles, the rise of decentralized data trusts, ways for groups to manage data collectively under shared rules, and just wider use of open source tools and standards for building this stuff.
And the ultimate vision the article paints, what's the end goal?
The big picture vision described is really about democratizing AI. It's about shifting power, moving away from these centralized gatekeepers and spreading control, access, and benefits more broadly. Aiming for an AI future that the author describes as being more just, more inclusive, and genuinely accountable to the communities it affects.
Wow. Okay, so this deep dive into the AI World Journal article has really taken us on quite a journey. We went from the problems with today's centralized AI
The monopolies, the bias.
to the technologies like federated learning, blockchain, edge computing that could enable a different approach. We looked at the potential upsides, better privacy, more access, resilience, transparency.
And saw some really compelling examples in areas like healthcare and finance.
Right. But we also acknowledge the significant hurdles still in the way: coordination, regulation, device limits, and it all leads to this vision, laid out in the article, of a potentially more distributed, maybe more equitable future for AI.
Yeah, and understanding this shift, or potential shift, feels pretty important for anyone trying to grasp where AI is heading. It really digs into fundamental questions about who controls data, how we ensure privacy, and ultimately who gets to shape and benefit from this powerful technology.
Definitely. So reflecting on that vision, the article presents an AI that aims to be just, inclusive, and accountable by sort of shifting power outward. Think about those real-world applications it mentioned. The healthcare diagnostics, the fraud detection, managing smart cities, those open AI marketplaces. Based only on what this article discussed, which one of those specific examples of a decentralized future feels the most powerful or exciting to you? Something to chew on.
The future of artificial intelligence is unfolding, and it's happening at AI World Week, the flagship global event for innovation, collaboration, and transformation. This flagship global AI event is designed to connect visionary leaders, trailblazing entrepreneurs, and influential thinkers to explore the endless possibilities of AI. Experience groundbreaking technology that redefines industries and inspires progress. Join thought-provoking discussions on ethical AI, digital equity, and the transformative role of technology in our world. Build meaningful connections that catalyze innovation and drive impact. AI World Week is powered by AI World Society, a global movement dedicated to advancing AI responsibly and ensuring it serves humanity. Together, we're shaping a smarter, more inclusive, and equitable future. Continue your journey beyond the event with the AI World Journal, offering expert insights, in-depth analysis, and the latest trends shaping the AI landscape. This is your opportunity to lead, to innovate, and to transform the world with AI. AI World Week. We invite you to join us and embrace the AI revolution.